Past the bustling roads in this East African village, you'll encounter an animal trail that is part of the Harambe Wildlife Reserve. Along this trek, you'll come across enormous hippos, enjoy playtime with some fun meerkats, and of course, marvel at some silverback gorillas. This is the Gorilla Falls Exploration Trail at Disney's Animal Kingdom. The entrance to this trail is nearby the exit of Kilimanjaro Safaris. In fact, if you're traveling with a stroller, you can drop it off while waiting in line for the safari and pick it up after experiencing both the ride and the animal trail. Now, while strollers, wheelchairs, and even ECVs are allowed on this trek, the pathways at Gorilla Falls can be a little tight, so it's best to explore this one on foot if you can, or during less crowded times. Walking this trail will only take about 20 minutes, and for my little wilderness explorers, don't forget those field guides. You can earn up to 6 badges here at Gorilla Falls. Everyone else, make sure you check out the map at the start of the trail, so that you know what animals to expect along the way. So join me now on this guided tour of the Gorilla Falls Exploration Trail. This was the first major animal trail to open at Animal Kingdom, and guests enjoy this walkthrough attraction mainly because of the gorilla sanctuary at the end. But there are dozens of other great animals to discover here, which brings us to our first stop at the Harambe Wildlife Reserve Animal Rehabilitation Center. It's breakfast time here at the Animal Rehab Center, and today we get an up-close look at some of the most beautiful monkeys in Africa. This is an Angolan Colobus monkey, and they can be found mostly throughout Central Africa in the Congo Basin. These monkeys are one of the most recognizable primates of the forest because of their long black fur and distinct strands of white fur around their faces and draping down from their shoulders. They are pretty small and slender creatures, usually measuring between 20 and 25 inches long. The females usually weigh around 20 pounds, and the males a little bit more at about 25 pounds. Their small bodies make them some of the most agile monkeys in Africa, which explains why they spend almost the entire day exclusively up in the tree canopies. It is not uncommon for these monkeys to spend a whole day without setting foot on the forest floor. These guys like to live and travel in relatively small packs. A troop will usually have one dominant male and up to 6 females with their young. The ladies usually give birth to a single baby every 2 years or so. Now, when they are first born, their fur is completely white, and as time passes, the black fur grows in while leaving a few strands of white down their sides. A baby will spend its first 15 months clinging to mom's belly. But by 2, they reach full maturity. And at that point, the males must choose between leaving the troop or challenging the dominant male, while the girls get to stay with their birth troop for life. Now, aside from their beautiful coats of fur, they have one more distinct feature that sets them apart from almost all other primates, and that is their diet. They will mostly only eat the leaves off of the trees they live in. Their digestive system differs from most monkeys in that their stomachs have 3 different sections. This helps them break down food that other monkeys can't eat, including some toxic plant life. But let's continue traveling down the path to see what more creatures we can find along the trail. Coming up is the Harambe Wildlife Research Center. This is a great stop for the little ones in the group because the research center offers a few interactive displays that showcases the smaller sized wildlife in Africa. From lizards and snakes to other interesting insects, this little stop has a lot to offer. But today, we're going to focus on a rare underground species that lives in some of the darkest and most harsh conditions on the planet. Behold the naked mole rat. These tiny saber-toothed rodents live mostly deep underground in East Africa. They live in huge colonies, very similar to termites and ants. But unlike those creatures, the mole rat's hairless skin cannot survive in the African sun, so it's predominantly a subterranean life for these little guys. As you can see, they live in a complex system of tunnels that can stretch several miles under the surface. And it's a packed life, one on top of the other for these mole rats. They live in large clusters. A colony can include as many as 80 individuals. But there is only one female in the group that acts as queen. The rest are merely workers busy gathering up food and maintaining the nest of tunnels. And if you think these strange-looking animals are creepy, just wait until you check out some of the other tanks in the research center with some of the larger reptiles. But of course, if this sort of thing makes the hair on your neck stand up, just keep walking on to the next section of the research center, where you'll encounter a wonderful collection of colorful birds in the aviary. In the swamps and vast wetlands of East Africa, you'll find the Taveta golden weavers, busy fluttering around and building nests. These bright-colored birds are known for their bold yellow feathers and deep green wings, and as their names suggest, their strongest skill set is weaving intricate, oval-shaped nests. And in fact, it's a male's weaving skills that will attract the females when it comes to mating. These birds have short yet thick beaks, which contributes to the construction of their homes. These nests can rest high up in the trees and in all sorts of configurations. They will obviously hold the bird's eggs, and a female will usually lay 2 or 3 eggs during mating season. Once the eggs hatch, the mother will usually feed the younglings insects, but it's mostly a diet of seeds for these feathered friends once they become adults. Now, while you may think these are some beautiful exotic birds, they're not so pleasing on the ears. They are considered songbirds, but the weaver's song can sound harsh on human ears, and often sound out of tune. So it's definitely not the kind of bird that you want at home in a bird cage. Now, before we leave the research center, we get the chance to observe a Nile hippo up close. This is one of the few animals that can be seen both on the safari and in the trail. But here at Gorilla Falls, we get a rare underwater view of these massive creatures. Hippos like this guy here can weigh up to 5,500 pounds. They're one of the largest animals in Africa, just after the elephant and the rhinoceros. Hippos will spend almost the entire day submerged in water to stay cool from the hot African climate. They can stay underwater between 4 and 8 minutes before coming up to breathe. They can even remain underwater while napping. Their heads will automatically rise to the surface to get necessary oxygen. Now, of course, as you can imagine, hippos are good swimmers, but they are so big that they actually prefer to walk along the bottoms of the river. Hence their name, which means river horse in ancient Greek. And they are technically classified as land mammals, but scientists have discovered that hippos are actually distant cousins to aquatic mammals such as dolphins and whales. And I guess that explains why they like to go swimming so much. And like many large African creatures, hippos have a strict vegetarian diet. At sunset, they'll spend a few hours on land grazing on short grass just before returning to the river. Now, I'm sure you know that these guys are somewhat dangerous animals. Their sheer size gives them an immense amount of power, and they can easily fight off predators. So you might be wondering why they're not bothered by all those fish swimming around. Well, that's because these African cichlids are actually cleaning those hard-to-reach places on the hippo's body. A great example of two animals participating in a symbiotic relationship. But really, this male Nile hippo is just enjoying a day at the fish spa. Now let's continue traveling along the trail and head towards the Savannah Outlook. As you can see, this is a great stop for you little wilderness explorers to pick up a few badges. And here on the Outlook, you may see some popular animals such as zebras, but today we get to watch the busy and fast-paced life of a meerkat. Meerkats are always on the move, and these furry friends live in clans of about 20 or so all over the Kalahari Desert. Meerkats are very sociable creatures, and they love to stick together. There's always a few males that will always be on the lookout for the colony. If he senses something dangerous, he'll shoot his body straight up and use his short tail to balance his body while standing upright and searching for any nearby predators. And if the coast is clear, he'll return to scurrying around the landscape. Unless someone else senses danger nearby. A tiring cycle and always on the lookout. Sadly, it's time to say goodbye to the meerkats, but we're heading towards the grand finale of our trek to witness a small family of gorillas. But it looks like this observation room is a little crowded. So let's go around the corner to see if we can get a better look. Humans have been fascinated by gorillas for years. Once upon a time, many believed that these were strictly violent beasts, but scientists began to disprove those misconceptions a few decades ago. In fact, these intimidating creatures are full of contradictions. While they are large and powerful animals, the lowland gorillas are simultaneously calm and gentle creatures. And the gorilla sanctuary here on the trek reveals just that. Finally, we have a beautiful look at a male western lowland gorilla, or more simply, the silverback gorilla. Now, believe it or not, recent research has revealed that gorillas are the most related primates to us humans after chimpanzees. Like the chimps, gorillas display a few physical similarities to humans, but there are a few differences. A gorilla's arms are quite long, and that allows them to walk on all fours using their strong knuckles as a base. Their hands and feet are also proportionally larger than those found on humans. But their heads are the most notable difference. A gorilla's head differs from ours in that the tops of their skulls form a subtle cone shape. They also lack a forehead, but instead they have a more pronounced brow ridge right above their eyes. Now, while gorillas are the largest of all the primates, this specific subspecies known as lowland gorillas are in fact the smallest, but they are still very large. The males can weigh anywhere between 300 and 500 pounds. This species also has shorter hair than their mountain gorilla cousins. Their fur color can be either a dark gray or black, and sometimes even a dark brown. But the mature males are known to have a saddle of white hair across their backs, hence their name the silverback. Now, what kind of diet fuels such large creatures, you ask? Simple. Vegetables. An adult silverback can eat up to 45 pounds of food every single day. They enjoy over 100 different types of fruits, and when fruit is not available, they'll consume leaves or even bamboo shoots. And in the wild, gorillas are sometimes known to eat small insects such as termites. But make no mistake, it is a predominantly clean vegetarian diet that keeps these animals growing. But perhaps the most fascinating trait of the male silverback is their role in the family structure. Family is everything for these animals. They live in groups as small as 5 or 10, or sometimes even large troops of 2 dozen. But there is only one alpha male in the group. Even though there may be a few adult males in the troop, the mature silverback calls the shots. He is the one who will mate with the females, and he's responsible for the protection and security of the family. But something that may surprise you is how the females feel about all this power residing with just one male. If a female loses faith in the male leader and fears that he cannot protect her or her young, she can choose to leave the group and find another family. It's not unheard of that a silverback reaching the end of his life will sadly find himself losing his family to a younger and stronger male bachelor. It is simply the circle of life. But the main reason why these beautiful creatures are dying in the wild is because they are losing their habitats. Aside from the common problems facing wild animals, such as climate change or a rapid growing human population, gorillas have smaller and smaller habitats because of the mining of a simple mineral called coltan, which can be found in the forest that these gorillas call home. Now, coltan is used to make something you and I are very familiar with, batteries found in our cell phones. And here's where you can play a vital role in the future of these gorillas. The next time you buy a new phone, make sure you recycle your old batteries. This can help reduce the amount of mining taking place in the forest and protect the beautiful landscapes that the gorillas live in. And that important message concludes the tour of the Gorilla Falls Exploration Trail here at Animal Kingdom. Now, if you're looking to enjoy more animal exhibits in Animal Kingdom, you cannot miss the Kilimanjaro safaris also here in Africa. It is a must-do attraction here at the park. Also, make sure to check out my tour of other animal trails here at Animal Kingdom, such as the Maharajah Jungle Trek. But that will have to do it for today. Thank you so much for joining me on this tour, and remember, if you can dream it, you can do it.